Right, people. So my landlord has just dropped in and said hi, happy Easter. Um, I should have kept my camera on, shouldn't have I? Really, but I paused it. This is the thing. I'm still a little bit shy, so just have to get. Love you, faggot baby. Said in spirit guide format. Um, I just think it looks really arrogant to have a camera on you, but that's why people think I'm arrogant because I'm basically not myself. If I was just open in front of everybody all the time, that would go away. Like nobody would think it at all. So be arrogant and no one will think you're arrogant. Don't be arrogant and people will think you're arrogant. He said people think you're not fun. That's what he said in spirit guide format just then. Really? Why aren't I fun? Probably because I'm sitting here with a laptop in front of me doing work. Probably because they don't see all the intricacies of my private details. So that's why I'm telling you every single little private thing, because I actually am fun. I just sort myself out basically, and I don't need other people for it. Is actually true. It's a trait of a higher vibration soul because higher vibration people can sort themselves out basically with exactly what they want without even needing people. Because you're just a more independent person. You know, I was what people don't like you is what he said. These are his true um, thoughts, transparent thoughts. He would never say it in real life, but that's what he thinks. Um, it's nothing I didn't know anyway. Um, this is what I mean. This is what was. That's why we're all telepathic. You know, if we suspect something in our heads, like what he said was everything is what that's what I thought all along. If so, you guys have these thoughts yourselves. If you think it, other people probably do too. Um, um, but you do something then that you like doing that radiates positive energy, and then they're like, "Oh, we like you, Ben." It can change in a split second. So it's only ever instantaneous the thoughts that people have because it can change very quickly. If you go into a good mood, everyone's going to start saying good stuff straight away, straight away. So I was thinking, if I had my time again, I probably would have because I did ag science after I left. I was thinking this morning. I was just reflecting on my past. I won the elephant science award. God just did the bath mat in the bathroom because this is about me. He doesn't like me talking about me. But he said, "Good for you, fag." That's what God said. I won the Elephant Science Award out of 2,000 students in Year 12 from my entry. My teacher was like, "Ben, we should enter you into this competition with the project that you've done." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I don't really care." I didn't know how big it was at the time, and I ended up entering. Um, so much so that I had to go home because I forgot to bring it to school. So I went there in the middle of the day to get my project to bring it back. And then we entered it in the Elephant Science Award in South Australia. I got first place out of 2,000 students. This was when I entered my project for ag science in year 12. And yeah, I was blown away like when I won it. I won money, it was like a financial prize. I was in the paper, I was in the advertiser, and I gave a speech on awards night. But ag science was my favourite subject. I got a 19 for that. My teacher at the end of the year, he was like, "I can't believe you didn't get a 20, man." Because I basically aced everything, like with 100% all year. And it must have just been the exam where they marked me down, or I got scaled down that subject, or I don't know. But yeah, I loved agriculture. That was my. I was going to do ag science at uni, and I was thinking I probably even would have done agronomy, actually. Something like that. I would have been like a scientist for farmers or something. Like that would have been really interesting. Or I would have worked for like Persia or something in like the offices or whatever, like researching or I don't know. But there were some people I was with because I went to an agricultural high school. There were some people I was with at high school that ended up finishing, and there was a gay guy there as well, actually. And I spoke to him some years later. I do remember him, and I remember at the time thinking, gee, he's gay. And he was as masculine as anything, but I knew he was gay. It must have just been like a telepathic, intuitive thing where I just knew. And then, yeah, I found him later, and I thought to myself, yeah, he was as masculine as anything. I knew he was gay. So I must have had that sixth sense like the whole time, because there wouldn't have been any other way of picking it. It was just like any other man. So, yeah, funny, isn't it? It's probably someone my spirit guides were setting me up for. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. At the time. But this was 2010, this was years ago. But I ended up dropping out and having a gap year, but that would have been, who knows? I think it would have been interesting. It would have been different to being a farmer, wouldn't have it? Even though I wouldn't have minded doing that, but no, I would have been like an advisor or somebody, because that was my passion. Even in systems at uni, I did a project on agriculture, because you can do project management in agriculture as well. Like in Africa or whatever with their soils, because it's actually a complex system with how like it's all integrated. A bit like the mind, body, spirit complex. It's a complex system. Move, Lily Cerner said. She said move. God sort of has confines for me. He actually has parameters that I basically have to exist within. Otherwise, it's not wisdom. So I'm basically guided by him, because he's so keen to help people through his vessel, through his very lucky special vessel. I was actually looking at my videos yesterday, and I was looking at the Law of One, and I was looking at my videos that were just like free talking like this. These ones actually looked better. And my grandpa was like, that's what we want, Ben. That's what I like about you. I like these type of videos like right here, and not the nerdier ones. That's what my grandpa said. And that's what other people were saying. They were like, we really love this, Ben, that we're seeing. It's just natural and open without having to basically be rigid. Or it's like I was holding on to like topics because I felt insecure deep within. And so I had to basically prove myself through this other stuff. I'm discovering, like, before I was gay, I was exactly like this with my friends in primary school. It was when I discovered I was gay, I started doing all the nerdy stuff. Because it's like we need to find a sense of self-worth. So we have to basically, like, show ourselves to the world through all that stuff that we're better, you know? Because we feel insecure within. Whereas all I had to ever do was just be myself and open up. But it's scary. That's why people don't do it, because it's scary. Or they have to be like a real faggot to prove themselves. Or lesbian people have to be really alpha and like be very hurtful to basically prove themselves again, because they're not getting heard, like H-E-A-R-D, heard, which is what I've realised in being psychic. I'm actually seeing it in people. It's like they take their identity to the extreme because they feel insecure. So it's interesting, isn't it? Whereas if you can just sit here in front of a camera and have a relaxed chat, you don't look like that because you've got nothing to hide. So everything you see is from within, like within. So this is what God actually, this is why God is highly intelligent, because he's an intelliger, I would say, as well. He actually said to me yesterday, Ben, your cellular level is all clean because you've unraveled everything out of your system, and now you're at the cellular level, you're clean, completely clean. That's what he said. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So, in other words, it's basically healed, if you want another description for it. But you have to main freight. You have to keep main freighting. That's the only condition. And we would prefer main freight in endeavours that were fun and helping people, not offloading to people. That clears your chakras as well. But yeah, that's they said it's to do it in a way that helps people. They said that's shopping, Ben. That's what Jane Morris said to me yesterday. And people are doing it naturally, and that's exactly why they're ever ready batteries. That's what they were telling me when I was in the shower at a male collective, because they do this naturally with people. They talk to people, but in the form of an ever ready battery, and not in the form of an energetic drain. So that's your two contrasting viewpoints. So I'm learning all the time, people, all the time. Every day is a school day. I heard somebody say that, and it's actually quite true. So I like to learn. God said just do Kath Armstrong, wanker, because she's got a lot of if you want to be a cheapskate, look up what she does. It's like, I think it's like 5 or 10 cents a day for a whole year, and she's got discounts at sometimes at a year, so you can get like a year's subscription for $25 and go through her archive. It's like an archive from all the years she's ever done it, of everything she knows about how to be a cheapskate. But a lot of people will admit it's not that masculine, it's more a feminine thing. Yeah, masculine is more main freight, fast decision making and spending money, but also having a job like a forklifting job, that's obviously more masculine. Or letting women do all the financial stuff. So, but we're not discriminating here, are we? God said, I support you, fag. That's what he said. So he wouldn't care if I did it. I think it's still forklifting in a way. Look at businesses with cost cutting and everything. Like that's all businessman mentality. So in a way they are doing it, but I guess they expect other people to be doing that cost cutting work and not them. So there's a few subtle differences, but I'm just generalizing here. Love you, Fagger baby, they said. Do you agree with that perspective? Am I just too cynical? No, there's a lot of fair people out there. You know, Ra is 6th density. That's only one density above 5th density. There's 6th density. So 8th density is basically the divine, or they call themselves main freight D. They don't like counting at all, but that's what this material says, and that's what Gaia says when I watch Gaia. So that's, God doesn't really like me being a nerd. That's why he doesn't really like me being so specific. So he doesn't really give me accurate details for that reason. Because he just wants me to get along with people. Whereas other psychics were like, I remember Christina Pavlina, she wasn't a nerd to start with as a psychic, and she had nerdy spirit guides because she had to learn all this material to teach people. Whereas it was the opposite with me. I was a nerd at the start, and so I had non-nerdy spirit guides. You always get the opposite of that which you are, because obviously opposites expand each other as well. So, I always talk about this, but yeah. Lamb said, I support you, fag. That's what he said. Spirit guide format. In his voice. It sounds like he's talking from outside, but it's actually his spirit guide voice. His consciousness. So This is the raw material on AI. I'm just looking at Google Copilot search, it says. Yep, interesting. I'll read this again. The entity communicating through Kala, called Ra, identifies as a sixth density social memory complex originating from Venus. Ra presents itself as a messenger of the law of one, aiming to convey the principle that all things are one, with no inherent polarity, right or wrong, or disharmony, and that the infinite creator manifests as love and light. And they've got love slash light, light slash love in all creation. Which I've spoken about for a long time about oneness, but these are the master. Well, I'm not going to say master of oneness because you don't need to be a master with oneness. It's a very simple concept to understand, but it's for anyone that wants to learn about oneness. This is a very good resource, obviously, but I will stop talking about it now. Okay. People are saying get a life all the time. And I said to God, I respect you a lot. I said to God, you hide stuff from me, because he was like, sensitive. Like he said it like that. And I was like, I really don't respect you at all. I said that to God because I'm not that sensitive. You should just be opening up and telling me stuff. And so he started doing it. And he was like, then he started calling me a fat ass. And he started just saying intuition nerd, and he said a few other things. And I was like, God, this helps me, actually. It helps me understand where I'm falling short so I can improve. And I laugh at it, and I actually say to God, I respect you so much more for just saying it how it is and just telling me what you think. It helps me. So, obviously, don't kick me into the ground, but just don't hide everything. I don't respect people for doing that at all. So he called me a fat ass. He reckons I'm lazy. But it's like, God, I'm living under your parameters. And I said, God, I would be out there delivering flyers if I had the option, you know. I would be doing all that stuff. And he was like, Ben, it wouldn't work anyway. That's what he said, because no one's going to respond to it. So you would just be wasting your time and effort and money, and it wouldn't be a good utilization of resources. So that's why we've kept you at home. That's what God told me. So it wouldn't be worth it. I basically have to grow a little bit more first before people will actually come around and see the good that they want from me, or not at all. Who knows? But God knows better, so that's why I do listen. Even in withholding information, He does know better with that as well. Until I reach a point when I'm ready to hear it, and that's when you say, God, give me more, and then He will give you more. When you ask, it's given, right? My higher self actually prompted me to say that to God. You know, I want more information. I want to hear what you think. That was what my higher self said to Him. So when you're ready, you ask the questions. Your soul seeks what you need. When you're ready for it. If you're not ready, you don't need it. So that's how nature works, people. So yeah, I actually, people are saying buy ice cream to put with coffee because it would taste better with your coffee. It makes a nice iced coffee to have ice cream with it. God said just do bergamot. Just come back. Just come back for wisdom. Oh yeah, Muhammad apparently has been coming back. Apparently he's been penetrating people because that's what I've been getting told. because he doesn't care about what people think. And so people like Bergamo because he does fuck people. But they also told me all about the onesie thing because they didn't want to upset gay people that wanted cockslut. That's what they did. That's why people met him and did the onesie thing. Because, yeah, they were trying to protect gay people as well. That they actually cared about the gay population. That's why people were meeting him for it. And they said it was straight men that were meeting him doing it because they cared about gay people. And that not everyone should have to do it if they didn't want to. So, fuck you, that's what they were doing, I'm hearing. That was the female collective saying that. Will hurt you. Why? Because you're too information platform. This is what God does for people like Jayu. You know, God wanted me to drag Jayu to Skylight Mental Health because we were going to help him get a job there. Because that's what he's meant to do. But he's very stubborn. I got a feeling in my heart. That's his heart, and that's your heart, they were saying, for me to have taken Jayu there. But he was just against the idea completely. It would have actually supported his family in China because it's really good money. And he's not really meant to be doing what he's doing. Well, he is, because that's his amazing wisdom. So that's why he's meant to be doing it. But it's not really his heart to be doing what he's doing at uni. Not completely. He's meant to be more of a healer. But he wouldn't listen. It would just go through one ear and out the other because he's so rigid in his opinions, which is good. I don't think that's a bad thing. Confident people are successful with if they're strong in their mind, as long as they don't completely collapse and get depression because it's going against their soul. That can happen as well for people that are very strong-minded. They can actually get mental health problems. So it's a double-edged sword. But he's not a faggot, they said. So, but I was a mental health care worker, and there were heaps of men in mental health that were straight. So how does that work then? Oh, they're masculine, but they didn't have empathy and enthalpy for people. They said empathy and enthalpy at the same time. So enthalpy means heat transfer. That basically means mojo, is what they're saying. Main freight gentlemen, like what Jesus said, they go hand in hand. So if you're not a main freight person as a man, you lack empathy for people. Empathy. It's basically low vibration male, but they're broken souls. That's the problem. Or not the problem. Because as a healer, we're meant to see people as fully whole. That helps them the most. So, that's the way Jesus saw people, and that's how he healed people in real life, because he saw them as whole. He nodded his head. He actually said, Ben, you're allowed to tell people that. But I shouldn't have asked or sought his approval to tell people that. I should have just said it. That's what he's saying as well. Because I don't really need to be worried about disclosing information here, because we're all one anyway. So I'm not out to hurt people here. That would be a different story. I'm out to cause unity and harmony for people. So in that sense, there's not really anything wrong with talking about people, is there? That's what spirit people, well, it's logical, isn't it? So, yeah. And if they get offended, they probably have to toughen up a little bit. because this is supposed to be, this is all positive intent here on this channel. It's not meant to be anything negative or bad. Michelle Vidler giggled and said, "Faggot doll." Oh well. God said she's my wanker. She can't talk. She's a soup ladle. She's a bisexual soup ladle. I don't see a problem with it, but she can't talk. The Law of One Society, 2015. What's something different that we could look up? Oh yeah, they showed me video hits last night, and they were like, "We want you to watch." They were like, "Watch video hits." I think Henrietta said, "Watch video hits," and so I searched video hits in my room on my TV on like YouTube. It came up with a woman from 2001. It came up with a woman that looked like Lily Cerner, and they were like, I didn't even pick up on it at the start, and they were like, "See, that looks like Cerner." That's what they said, and I clicked into it, and it was like 1 hour and 30 minutes. And I watched the starting part, and I saw like the introduction from 2001, and it looked like the Big Brother intro, sort of like you know how like going through a tunnel like at the start, and I was like, "Geez, this looks like an entrance to the afterlife almost." It was very what would I call it? It was Lily said, "Good for you." That's what she said. That's what Lily Cerner said, because it sounded very high vibrational frequency, like the music and everything, and I was like, "Ooh, this is the sort of like I love like that sort of atmosphere. I love the 90s and early 2000s, and I was like, okay. Then the music after wasn't that good, so I changed it to one from 1994 because there was a Phil Collins song in that one, and I was like, I prefer old music, and 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 I was like, gee, I reflected after, and I was like, gee, like that sounded very, very like high vibration. And they were like, think of Cerner, and I saw Cerner on it, like an image of Lily on the front, and it said 2001, so obviously it wasn't Lily Cerner. It was a look-alike, and then and then I was like, oh, so that's Lily Cerner. She's got that vibration, and I'm like, yes, she's an old soul, and she has a Mason wisdom, and that's why she's so happy, because she's a Mason wisdom. And I was like, well, she's straight. It sort of helps, doesn't it, to give people confidence? And well, there were a lot of factors. Like her family approved of her. She had a lot of encouragement. She was straight. She is straight. But yeah, that's they have her as a baseline here for me, obviously because she's my soul as well. But just to basically, yeah, draw comparisons from and conclusions from, and she's actually quite supportive with the stuff I do. Like when I'm doing the Law of One and the straight popular, like the collective are putting me down for it, like as I'm going through it, and then Lily will be like, "Good for you, good for you, good for you," like as I'm reading it, because she actually respects somebody that has this like intelligence and is interested in stuff like this. She respects it. She encourages it. She's still saying "good for you" now, so she is she is more positive basically than a lot of the population, so that's why it's nice that she's here. Um, yeah. Oh, Jane Morris. Yeah, she said dinky. She supports it. Um, so she was my mathematics teacher at school. She actually quite likes me, and she doesn't say the words like faggot or anything as much as people like Florence King, because she has more respect for people. Like Jane Morris has more respect for people just because she knows what it's like to be a nerd, basically, and she knows what it's like to be a completely amazing person, and she probably has been through her own stuff, and so she's got empathy for people that are like her. And she's more of a similar soul to me than Florence anyway. Florence is very different to me. Jane Morris is more like me, so it's nice to have somebody that's more like me here, and she's taking over more from Florence King as a spirit guide. Um, so yeah, she's just a nicer person, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, the masculine collective said, "Think of Dinky." They were trying to insult me to say that that's like baby, to say that, but it's actually true. Um, I think being transparent is just look, it's something a lot of nerds don't possess. Being transparent, unless it's about their nerdy subject, they don't open up emotionally. A lot of them are typically men, and that's a reason why they don't open up emotionally as well. Is what I actually do believe, and that's what, well, I'm comparing them to me in the past. That's what I was like in the past. I didn't open up to people. Um, so maybe women are different. So Lamb just said that's faggot smell in his spirit guide voice. He's actually outside, you can hear him, but he talks to his consciousness also talks to me. To open up your emotion about your emotions is faggot smell, that's what he believes. Um, yeah. Enhance the feminine and you'll enhance the masculine in your soul. Because opposites always enhance each other, people. So it's actually true. You will get more masculine if you open up and talk. Those really die-hard masculine people are actually weak within emotionally, because that's what they do. They're suppressed inside, and they hurt people. They're the ones that would bash you up. So that's actually a masculine behaviour. Um, so it depends. People probably look at me and think, Ben, you're feminine. Yes, maybe, but I'm in. What would I say? I can't be in a straight person's shoes because I don't know what it's like to be. So I'm only talking about them from my frame of reference. It's like how they call me a faggot because they lack the understanding for me. They don't know what life's like from my frame of reference. So they're casting judgments on me. Yeah, they're casting judgments upon me. I'm casting judgments on them from my frame of reference with what I perceive, right? So yeah, I do think it is good though, however, to take labels away and be an all encompassing person because it just gives you greater depth. So, bisexual people I actually really do respect for that reason because it's giving you more sides of the diamond to consider. Although they call me a faggot quite a lot, more than straight people, even because they're more insecure about their sexuality, bisexual people in particular. Um, so Whereas people that are really straight are actually really nice to me because they're completely secure in themselves. Um, God threw the bath mat down because he doesn't like. There's some stuff he doesn't like me saying. Um, but yeah, gay people don't call me a faggot at all. Not. I think they've only said it once. They said you're our faggot. That's what they said because obviously they can relate to me, and they wouldn't really. They're not homophobic, obviously. So although sexually, I do like being called a faggot. I must admit, it turns me on a lot, and I just like the sort of dominant, demeaning behaviour. Um, hmm. Hmm. What? Yeah, it makes sex fun. It does. But the male collective were like, we will hurt you. That's what they said. They don't like me saying that. Hmm? Yeah, they're going all quiet. Like they're talking, but like they're doing it so I can't hear them because they don't like transparency. And God just said, you're right, Fagger. And he said, you're my Fagger. That's what God said because God respects transparency. That's what he would prefer for people. It's because it's an expression of the soul. We've got souls for that reason, to be transparent in helping people. That's the only clause. Even if it's not, it doesn't matter that much, but it's preferable to help people. Teach/learning is really good. Hmm. Let's have a look at this. Christina said, "You're my baby." Is it possible to help an entity to reach fourth density level in these last days? So 4D consciousness. I am Ra. It is impossible to help another being directly. It is only possible to make catalyst available in whatever form, the most important being the radiation of realization of oneness with the Creator from the Self. Less important being information such as we share with you. Yes. So this is all really positive material, and it doesn't actually get you to learn about your soul. So that's why people like Christina are here, to give me a negative baseline. And I've got things from different angles, like spirit people from different angles, basically to help me learn about my soul. And so that's that is the radiation of realization of oneness with the Creator from the Self. That's exactly what it is, because you've got different baselines to help you learn, and you can only learn that through your own experience. These people here, they're teaching from up here. So all of this other stuff underneath, the intermediate stuff, you can only learn yourself. These people here teaching this, they've already learned that stuff, so that's why they're up here, right? So this here is not going to help all of this here, is basically what they're trying to say. So you have to learn that through hardship, struggle, different people's perspectives to help you learn from different angles, and that's how you ascend. So, is it possible to help an entity to reach fourth density level in these last days? This is one of those perspectives of these people helping you here. Like this is one of these perspectives as well. Because of course this stuff helps you get to fourth density. It still does, but this alone, less important being information such as we share with you. So it's still important, but it's less important because they're not teaching you all that intermediate stuff. We ourselves do not feel an urgency for this information to be widely disseminated. It is enough that we have made it available to 3, 4, or 5. This is extremely ample reward for if one of these obtains fourth density understanding due to this catalyst, then we shall have fulfilled law of one in the distortion of service. I'm actually feeling a pain in my head, and they're saying, Ben, it's not necessary for you to read all of this. Really? It's information platform that helps people the most. So by you helping people, that helps people the most. Because you are unraveling your soul, you're getting down to your cellular level, and you keep helping people that you attract into your existence. And by that tandem always happening, you ascend naturally. And it's better than basically rigid methodology. So that's really what God will tell you. Learning through experience is basically the right word for it. Um, there's nothing wrong with this stuff though. If you're interested, you will naturally seek what you're interested. Your soul will call you to it, and you will be glued to it. You will naturally go and seek it with no one telling you to do it. That's when it's meant to be for you. That's why when I was at the grocery store yesterday, I had a list. I had a rigid list, and I was supposed to buy. I'll show you. I was meant to buy eggs. I was meant to buy. Yeah, the male collective is saying it's faggot masculine to even go in with a list. They think that this is faggot masculine. Eggs, bread, pecorino, beer, white wine. They were like, because they were like, Ben, that's disrespectful to people to have a list. I knew that's what they were thinking, but they're saying it is. It's more masculine to just go into a shop. This is why they're so private, because they're worried about being insensitive, and then it makes people. I think it makes people more insensitive than just opening up and being open. Like you're actually more sensitive to just tell people the truth. That's what I think. But the world doesn't see it that way, but that's how I see it. I think it's a lot more sensitive to just tell people the truth and be straightforward. Because my channel doesn't look rude. I watch my videos and they don't look rude. They actually look like a really nice guy, and that's why they say, Ben, you're a nice guy. They put me down for nice guy, but I don't think it's Yeah, they said you like faggot bergamot. Fair enough, but I like self-expression. Jayu, my friend Jayu, likes self-expression. He's exactly the same as me, and he's straight. So there you go. Anyway, moving on. So I was in the supermarket yesterday, and do you know something I've learned as well that's really, really interesting? I didn't look at my list, but I was walking past, like, you know when you're shopping and you buy all those things that you crave. Like I put pizza in my trolley, they weren't on the list. I put chocolate ice creams in my trolley, they weren't on the list. Like how your DNA unravels and you talk from just natural stuff, like what I'm doing here, is exactly what happens in the grocery store. You're supposed to buy what you're craving. Like I remember just quickly, I was a support worker for someone. I will tell you this, and he was on this diet where he was eating no carbohydrates, and he would just be eating all this protein. And every couple of days, he'd have a binge where he couldn't do it anymore, and he would just devour bread or chips or something because his body was obviously seeking carbohydrates. Someone said good for you and fuck you at the same time, because I am revealing information, but I'm just telling you this as an example that if I was to if I was to go to Aldi and buy eggs, that wouldn't be what my body actually requires. My body needed that pizza. My body needed the ice creams. You know, that's why I skipped the eggs, because I didn't need protein at that point. I completely forgot about eggs while I was in the shop, because I didn't need them. I needed the other carbohydrates because my body was looking for that sustenance that wasn't protein, that was the starchy foods. Because, yeah. So when you're in the shop, if you feel, go with what, don't be irrational. Don't like stock up your trolley with Nutella and chips and all that sort of stuff and walk out with all junk food, because that's a sign that you need healing. If your intuition is telling you that, that's probably darker entities telling you to buy all that stuff. You want to get spiritually clean and then buy what you're drawn to, because then you'll make more rational choices and not choices from a depressed person that would just bury themselves in a hole. That's the only thing I would tell you. So when I was depressed, I actually focused on eating like good foods, because otherwise you go more downhill. Now, at this point now, I can be more fluid in my choices of diet, because it will, yeah. So they're saying good for you. They agree. Yeah. So I probably don't need to be saying that all the time. Like they agree, they disagree. Like they don't usually say disagree. They usually say agree. But I'm not meant to. They're saying you still faggot bergamot for even saying that to your audience, because you should just say, yep, that's what people will think when they hear the video. Or I should think that. That's what they're telling me. They're just giving me the heads up. Anyway. So, hmm? I'll smoke you, faggot. That's what they said. Good. Faggy likes being a cigarette for people. He doesn't mind it. That's probably my favourite flavour. I like both. I like smoking the cigarette and being the cigarette. I like both, actually. But I prefer to be the cigarette probably. When you get more masculine, you start discovering you don't like giving cock slut for people anymore. When your vibration gets to that masculine level, well, that's actually disrespectful to the people out there that like cock slut as a masculine person. Maybe it's just my preference. I'm going to say that it's my preference to be a cigarette for people because you could be very masculine and like smoking cigarette for people. So I'm just talking from my point of view with what I've experienced. I never want to be disrespectful to anyone else's amazing choices because um, that's up to them. So, all right. They said, fuck you, we support you now, don't we? That's what they said. Interesting. Main freight people, and we won't help you, and we will help you, they said at the same time. So they're trying to say, Ben, it depends on you. Depends on you. So I bought my Heineken beer yesterday, and I bought white wine because they didn't have the sweet fruit. It's 5 liters. The only difference is to the Cooler Bar Red is that this is 39 standard drinks. Cooler Bar Red had a higher alcohol content for the same amount of liters. This was 47.3 standard drinks for 5 liters. So it's stronger to red wine. I don't know if that's just a characteristic of red wine or the actual quality of the wine. I think red wine is a little bit stronger alcohol content than white wine, isn't it? Sweet, fruity white. Let's have a look. Yeah, it says dry and it says sweet. Yeah, because more of the sugars haven't turned to alcohol. That's why. Because this is a sweeter wine. So when more of the sugars actually turn to alcohol, you get a higher alcohol content. Because obviously red wine's not as sweet. So, interesting. So it says flavor indicator, dry and sweet. So it's actually on the See, sweet fruity white would be dry, wouldn't it? No, sweet. But people like white wine. Like I had somebody over and he was like, Ben, I prefer white wine. I don't like red wine. So that's why we went and bought white wine from Liquorland. It's not bad. I guess it gives you sugar as well when you drink it, doesn't it? Gives you alcohol and sugar. And a nice grape taste. So, red wine's, well, it's actually healthy as well because of like the tannins in the grape skins that give it the colour. It's actually very, very healthy for your heart as well. And it makes you fish, they said. It makes you main freight person. That's what they said about this red, like the red wine. It actually keeps you healthy. But there's something I watched on TV years ago about that place in Greece where people live the longest. It was like, what do they call it? A blue country or something like that. I think it's Ikaria or something in Greece. You know that place where people live a long, long time? One of the things they have is wine, a lot. And they live like very, very late. They have a high, what do they call it? You know what I mean? So, Yeah. It's genetics, wanker, I'm hearing as well. It's actually their genetics that play a part in it. But it's their community that have actually worked as a system with their genetics and with what they consume on the land. It's all worked together, I'm getting. It's actually all worked as a system. Where they live, the soil, how it actually gives vegetables nutrients, their way of life, their mentality, their mindset, and the collective union of people there that are about people. And that's actually why they all live to that age. It's not just the diet, it's actually more facets to their existence than the diet. That's why, as humans, we do all work as systems. So, yeah, I did that assignment at uni about Pasadena Foodland, and that's where they're actually from. Those people, that family. I don't know if they were from there or if they actually. Yeah, God actually slapped down the bath mat because they are actually from there. He wants me to trust in my intuition because otherwise you look unsure of yourself. You're meant to go with your first thought with intuition, and it's right. So that yeah. They said that's your intuition. They are from there, and I did my project on what's it called? Yeah, I did my project on Pasadena Foodland and the history of them, like their family, and they had a dedicated section in the shop that was called the Blue Zone because it's about their hometown and longevity. And they had a whole section on their website about it because I did a project on that family. And it's one of, they call it Adelaide's finest supermarkets because that's really what it is. It's like the central market, like going into that store. But they did say they expanded too quick. But that's what they thought. But their main freight people, they also said that, and that's why they were always main freight people, and that's why they made it about people to customer, and that's why they were movie people, like they were moving people basically their whole existence with that store. You can't be a nerd and have a supermarket like that. Or that's why a lot of nerds never have those big businesses because they're bumming people. That's what God always told me. The people that have those, like Meadow Lee, he said that butter was made by bumming people. Tablelands, which were Bilo brand margarine, they weren't as bumming people. That's what God said. That's why Meadow Lee dominated the market. And they didn't overlook little details. They overlooked little details. They didn't overlook little details, but they were just fast, is what God said. And they cared about people. They were obviously heterosexual masculine. But then again, we also had a chat last night. If I wasn't homosexual, I probably would never have been a healer. And my spirit guides were like, Ben, God said fuck you. That's what he said. But my spirit guide said, Ben, you're not that wrong. That's why a lot of heterosexual men, they have a family and they never get into this sort of thing because that's the way society guides heterosexual people to have that traditional existence. So even Jeff, he actually said to me, I said, Jeff, I asked him that question. And he said, "Oh, because I'd have a family if I was, if I was straight, and that's why people have this existence so that we can be different in this capacity, in this capacity." Jeff's really good at asking questions too because he has all the knowledge I have. Basically, he knows everything about spirituality. My friend Jeff. So he still has spiritual experiences today. He actually gets pushed out of bed by his spirit guides. Like physically, they push him out of the bed onto the floor because they want him to wake up. But yeah, Like when his cat was dying, he sensed a human spirit there to actually take his cat to heaven. Like he can sense spirits, my friend Jeff. What? Christina said he's a fanker. Because he is. But so? Everybody loves Jeff for a reason. People call him a fagger. You know, the alien races, they said, we love Jeff. That's what they said to me. I think the Palladians said, Ben, we like Jeff for his existence because he's a completely fun person all round. They said we would prefer Jeff any day of the year. That's what they said, the Palladians. So I said that was wisdom, wasn't it? Facial expressity. The reason why Jeff's not here, sitting here, is because he's more social than me. He's more people perfect than me, and he didn't really want to be overt like me. He didn't really think it was necessary for people. Which is fair enough. That's why people are going to his house. That's why he hooks up every day and has drinks like a fish more than what I do. That's the existence he chose. Good for him. I got a feeling in my teeth. Oh, he's got a chip on his shoulder. That's the only problem. That's why he's always putting down the government. I was going to say the bottom, because he was a masculine, and that's why they couldn't work with him. Because he didn't want to be masculine, which again is another amazing choice that he chose. But fair enough. Fair enough. He doesn't have all the social problems like what I do, so that's actually a benefit. But yeah, I guess I wouldn't trade my existence sitting here, even though it sort of segregated me in a way. I wouldn't actually trade it. I would still be doing this here, cause this is what I've chose. So Jeff will hurt you if you don't keep praising people, because he has a lot of praise for people as well. I don't entirely agree, but yes, he does have, he's an enthusiastic person. I will say that, he is an enthusiastic person. The gay population don't like Jayu and you, they said, in mediumship. Like, they're directing that at me. They would prefer Jeff to be a medium, but that's why he's not here doing this, people, because he doesn't want to have, he doesn't really, well, A, he doesn't think it's fun. B, he just doesn't, he doesn't like confrontation. He shies away from it. And he just doesn't think it's people perfect to be disclosing his spiritual path in front of everybody. And he didn't feel comfortable either. He gets insecure about spirituality, so he doesn't like to show people because of rejection. He just didn't think it was necessary. He preferred to keep it under wraps, unless it was for really close friends, which is fine. I understand that. But This was also years ago, mind you, when people didn't believe in spirituality, because he's a bit older than me. He's about, he's 8 years older than me. So he didn't want to tell people. Um, he said, "Love your mum." That's what he said to me. Um, Everyone's got a different perspective on Jeff. I actually like him for look. The Palladians love him because he lives it up, so they actually support him. But they couldn't work with him because he wasn't masculine. Um, so, but that's what they. That's what they're going quiet now. But that's what they told me, guys. This was the stuff that you said. This is what they told me. This is what they understand. They left because they want me to think, well, we could be there if he wanted it still. They don't just ditch people. Spirit people don't just ditch people. Like, you can always redeem yourself at any time if you want to. If you want to. And it's not a life or death situation anyway. He loves what he's doing. Um, but yeah, he has his dark moments where he gets down about things as well, which we all do, me included. Um, but he doesn't show that to people either. He thinks it's respectful to shut the door and not talk to anyone about your problems because that's what his mum taught him to do that. So you won't find him offloading to anybody about anything. Um, he's a faggot soul wanker. That's what people think of him, don't they? Um, Probably of me. It's probably what they're referring to. You don't get popular doing this, people, sitting here and doing this, but everyone looks at you and everyone wants to learn from you. Because they think subconsciously, this guy's got something to offer. I'm going to watch him because he's got something that I need or that my soul is calling out to try and discover. So they hate you, but they actually are always drawn to you like a magnet for a reason. So otherwise, no one would be looking at me. You know, if I was a bogan in the street and I had a coming problem, no one would have given me the time of day. They would have just walked past me. You know, it's because of my. Um, it's because I'm a different person that people can sense something in me. That's why I've gotten all this attention. Otherwise, I never would have gotten it. That's why you are arrogant, baby. Yes, it is, but it's my arrogance that actually attracts attention. That's why people actually look at me, because I am arrogant. Otherwise, there would be nothing that people could basically observe if I wasn't arrogant. That's why no one would care if I wasn't arrogant. You know, no one would know me. If I was quiet, everyone wouldn't. They would just walk past me. They wouldn't. It would never have blown up this big and gone around half the world. None of that would have happened if I wasn't arrogant. So, hmm. The male collective said, "We will hurt you and we will help you, baby," at the same time. They said hurt and help at the same time. Um, no one can hurt you. If you think people can hurt you, you haven't understood the law of one material at all. Um, because hurt is part of the oneness harmony. So, we will suck you stiffy, they said. That's what the masculine collective just said. This is why when you're in 5D, your wisdom actually supersedes hurt. You can resolve it very quickly because you've got enough wisdom to have the understanding that you will never go back to 3D or 4D once you reach 5D. You're pretty well invincible in 5D. The only difference is it has to be fun. Like that's what it has to be for 5D. That's yeah, it's more fun based wisdom that most people have when they're in 5D, I think. But they learn the lessons the easy way, not the difficult way. By being a dog, basically, they've learned proactive wisdom, and that's fun wisdom, and that's what they've learned. A lot of main freight people are in 5D because they've done it the fun way. And God said, "Good for you, wanker." That's what He said. I think He actually agrees. You can be intellectual if you want, but take the fun method. Yeah. That's why I support Jeffrey. They said he's an intuitive person. He's highly intelligent Jeff, very very intelligent, and he's a people person as well. So he's actually he's very and he's an amazing soul, I would say, very amazing wisdom, Jeff. And he's a rebel as well. He's and he's a fun person. He's not sea urchin like me. He's a lot more fun. So yeah, I do, however, think you need to be a sea urchin person to actually want to sit here and give messages to people. Though, like you need to be a little bit like that. Or to be a healer. That's what people want, some sort of seriousness about you if you're a healer. Otherwise, they won't take you seriously. But you have to be fun, obviously, too. So, yeah. But anyway. But, yeah. Hi, Jeff, if you're watching. I've heard all about you, buddy. Spirit people have told me all about you. About you. So... He said, "Fuck you" on Centrelink. What did he say? What's next? What? He doesn't care about what they say to people. You are a cockslut, aren't you? That's what he doesn't care about. Remember I said I went like to a self-development class and sat in a circle with this group. He was like, "Yeah, were they spiritual?" He was the one that put he was the one that put cordial in wine to make it scullable. He was the one where we cooked eggplant on the barbecue because he thought we should experiment with making eggplant on the barbecue at his house. And we planted that day. We planted seedlings in the backyard, and the silver beet was the one that actually grew and it was still alive. Because silver beet is very hardy. He said, "Wow, Ben, I didn't even know about this." He was like, "Gee, I don't have to go to the shop and buy it. I can just pick it always from the garden and use it inside." Like, he was loving the silver beet. The other stuff died. I think the rocket and the lettuce died because silver beet is just one of those things that just is very resilient and hardy. So it survives heat. If you don't like, it's just more hardy than the other ones. So yeah. Hmm? just like just listen, faggot. We don't love you for pimpole, do we? I think they're talking about Muhammad Fahan because they said he was a cocksucking man because oh yeah, they said what did they say? They said Pim Pol, PM Pol instead of Pimbok. They said Pim Pol because he was a forklifter, like he was a taxi, but he would drive there, like he was a slave driving human. So he would drive to people's houses and do it, but because yeah, they didn't really think I'm coming like what I did to people was necessary because it didn't need to happen. But then the male collective were like, "That's stiffy, Ben. That's stiffy." Like to say I'm coming and just drive there. But a lot of people thought it wasn't necessary, and so Muhammad drove to people's places instead. I've heard all about it. Um, Project management pole obviously meant taxi service. So Muhammad did all the work basically for them um, instead of the other way around. Because they were trying to show people that you didn't need to be that serious, which you actually didn't need to be. Um, this is all the stuff I hear. Um, they said that's faggot line and faggot lie at the same time. Like the men said that's faggot line, and the women said that's faggot lie. So hmm, interesting. Huh. Charlotte Pretty says, "I'll punch you, wanker." Why? I think I know why. I'm just confirming. Because they didn't need to hear what you said last night. That was about her bisexual condition, not condition, truth. Her bisexual truth. Um, she was the one where she's a victim soul, Charlotte Pretty, and her mum likes me. She said her mum Gianna. She likes you. She said, but she didn't really like. She didn't approve of it at home, like the lesbian sexual methodology. She didn't approve of for her daughter. So I was meant to reveal that information here. So obviously, yeah, she was in a similar position to me, Charlotte Pretty, um, but with being a lesbian, with people disapproving of her sexual choices. So other people go through it, even women. Even women go through it, people. So women criticise me, but they're going through it if they're a lesbian. Or even as a straight person with people's disapproval, they still go through stuff like this. You know what was really funny? They said to me yesterday, they said, I think it was the gay collective that said, men like fantasy, women like fancy. It's actually true. Men like fantasy, women like fancy. Makes sense, doesn't it? Fuck yeah, they said. The male race. There was a joke one, I'm pretty sure. I think you know all about people, I'm hearing. I just need people to heal. People to hear. Hear and heal at the same time. People to. But, like the law of one, people sought them. People actually went and sought them, and they didn't go around knocking on people's doors. They didn't feel the need. They're there for the seeker when the seeker needs them. So I've made my stance clear. Um, in this dimension, then I'm getting there needs to be a bit of both. You do need to push for it a little bit in this dimension. They're a very high frequency. So people basically seek them when they're ready. But in this dimension here, you need to do a little bit of forklifting, basically, to basically get somewhere. And God will acknowledge that as well. He said, yes, Ben, you do need to put in a little bit of effort. I do acknowledge it. Probably for this density, because, yeah. So you do need to chase after people a little bit here. But it should be a duo where people actually want you to. It's perseverance, full stop. That's what it is. Once you get really good as a healer, you know, it'll sell like hotcakes. Really, once you get popular, and you won't need to do all the fighting for anything. Not fighting, but you know, forklifting to try and get people. You won't need to do that. So a lot of women love you. That's what they said. A lot of women like Jeffrey too. Absolutely, they do. I love my friend Jeff. I just wasn't really the nightclubber like what he was, and still is. But he knows everything about spirituality, like every single thing, um, every single little thing. He did a lot of yeah, he did a lot of communication with the other side. Um, he's a very enlightened soul, and God completely changed him because he was a sea urchin person to start with, and God completely changed him. So he's gone through a similar situation to me. So he said fair enough. Like his spirit consciousness said fair enough. But that's what I was told. Probably doesn't like to acknowledge it, or maybe he doesn't believe that what I'm saying is accurate. You just said fair enough. I think spirituality does lighten people up. I think it does. Hmm? No one likes you, main freighter Mason wisdom, I'm hearing. Main freighter Mason, no one likes. They probably like more the laid back, let's have a chat type of person. But, would I get along with Lamb, though, if I was like this, is my question. Like, Lamb said faggot smell to open up about your emotions to people, like, through a format like this. So would I get, and men even went, like, would I get along with people like Lamb? You know? I guess there's only one way to find out. Like if he was sitting in there with his friends. Like he had two friends and him sitting there, and they were like, oh, Ben, sit here, have a beer, and they were like all hospitable, and I was like, oh, look, I would love to. Like, if I come back and you're still here, I'll sit with you because I had to go. I actually had a hookup at that time. And so I was like, oh, I've got to go. And like, I came back in half an hour and they were gone. I would have sat with them. So, who knows? I probably would have got along with him. I've got a jovial personality. I can have a joke. A bit like Jeff. He can talk to me in this format, but he can get along with anyone. Like, he melds to their personalities and gets along with them because he's a people person. So one thing that happened when I moved here, God was like, Ben, I need you to be sitting outside talking to your housemate on the sofa out the front. Like, that's what he wanted. He wanted me to just sit with him and connect with him. And that's what he wants me to do with people. So next time they're here, I'm going to say, I will sit with you and talk to you. So I will. I will do that because, you know, they're actually quite jovial. They sit there and drink beer. They drink like a fish. They drink beer and eat meat like all night, and they talk all night. And they sing. They put the TV on and they play karaoke. But yeah, for the most part, they just sit there and talk and go through cartons and cartons of beer. So that's exactly what I'm interested in. So I actually got a chip in my brain just burst. That's your ecstasy chip, Ben. That's what God was telling me. That's what it is. For a man in particular, like me. That's how you get ecstasy. That's people say get a life. That's probably what it is. To be doing that stuff. That's what he would prefer. That's what God would prefer. Can I tell them that? I am allowed to tell them. God actually said that ecstasy was one thing I could do because it would actually help with my brain chemistry, with rewiring it every now and again. Because God said, I'll punch you because He doesn't want this out there. But because you know, it would actually muck up my endocrine system if I did it, and that's why God wanted me to heal naturally without that stuff. But like Jeff always said, Ben, have it every now and again because it actually, like when you need a boost, it actually rewires your whole system for a number of months. Like when you do have it, just a little bit, he said, because that's what drugs do for people. And if you've taken medication, she said that's faggot masculine. That's what she told me, my spirit guide. They would prefer I didn't do it and just basically, the only thing they probably will approve of is marijuana in full. They really love marijuana, spirit people, because it actually does work with the body. But even then, they don't want me going near it. They prefer 100% drinking water, natural, basically, or alcohol. They don't mind alcohol, but it messes with your endocrine system. Drugs, they actually take like your body's in balance, your mind, body, spirit complex, and drugs actually take you out of balance. That they actually disrupt that mind body spirit system balance. Even pharmaceutical drugs, they do it too. They would prefer herbs from the beginning. They probably prefer the Dr. Flowers Happy formula before you go taking antidepressants because they also muck up the endocrine system. And they've actually, but ecstasy would work at rewiring the brain. It actually would because you've got downers like those antidepressant drugs, and then you've got uppers like ecstasy, and they actually counter each other out, and they actually get your brain reconfigured again. But it's not the ideal solution. What God's done for me in this format, where He's helped me, is the ideal solution for rewiring my brain. But ecstasy, it would help, but it's not ideal. It's still every time you take a drug, it basically. Blah, blah, blah. I can't say that because it doesn't. For a healthy person, you can take it without much effect. But for someone like me, where I have to be really sensitive and intuitive for my job, and where I have to basically be careful about my brain that's been affected already by antidepressants, it's actually more paramount for me to care about my physiology. And that's why I let God run the show, basically. Orgasms are good for rewiring your brain. And a lot of people, they talk about no fap, like on the internet, and how it actually preserves your testosterone or whatever. because it's not emitting life force frequency from you every time you ejaculate. And some people don't fap for like a year. God said baby, but actually, do you approve of this? Having regular orgasms actually takes you out of the platform so that you can quickly get back in the platform, right? It's like because you're emitting life force every time you ejaculate, right? So it gets you out of the platform because it's lowering your vibration every time you masturbate. It actually does, but then it gets you in the platform quicker again, and it gets you more sexual and horny the next time you're horny. It actually does. It's like if you don't use it, you lose it. It's like with your brain. It's exactly the same with your reproductive system. It actually makes you more masculine to be using it rather than losing it. It's something I've found. That's why we are supposed to do it naturally as part of a human species. No fap isn't natural. That sounds like suppression. It's not natural at all. But it's actually true. It's better to use it, especially it opens up your brain as well, and it actually gets the neurons, like porn, it rewires your brain, and a lot of people don't approve of porn because that's what it does. It's instant gratification. But by actually masturbating, God would prefer you did it with people. Because I actually asked him this morning, I said to him, like, you know, those, what do they call it? Those, they're calling me baby. So this video is probably going to look really bad if I go over it and rewatch it. But you know, those tubes that you have in science at school that are glass. Like I said to God this morning, I said, have women actually masturbated with those, and have they actually broken inside of them? Because they reminded me of a condom like at school when we used to like look at those. And God says, yes, they have, and yes, they have broken inside of them. And that's exactly why God would prefer people did it with people instead of masturbate in bed at home. That's what God said. Because those people didn't do it with people, like with males. So that was his lesson for me. Yeah, that's what he said. If they were doing it with people, they wouldn't have even had something break inside of them. So that's why God doesn't want me just fapping at home in my bed. He would rather I did it with people, because that's what I did this morning. So anyway, I'll leave it there because this video is probably going to look really stupid because they keep calling me a baby. But yeah, I'll finish it right now.